million children, more than ever before, were living in displacement within their own countries due to conflict and violence in 2019, some of them for years. This is contained in a new report by UNICEF on Wednesday. The report, Lost at Home, looks at the risks and challenges internally displaced children face and the urgent actions needed to protect them. The report is coming at a time that COVID-19 continues to spread around the world, which makes these children among the most vulnerable to its direct and indirect impact. Joining us live now is the UNICEF representative in Nigeria, Peter Hawkins, to tell us more about this particular story. Let's break the figure down. 19 million, how many of them in Africa and precisely in Nigeria?
Well, in Nigeria, we have 1.9 million plus displaced people and a whole number of refugees. Out of that 1.9 million, 60% are children, 25%, so something in the region to 150 to 300,000 are children under the age of 4.
That's huge. How do you see Africa and indeed Nigeria coping with this explosion in numbers, especially at a time where countries of the world are fighting COVID-19?
Well, in 2019, over 12 million newly displaced people became displaced. But in Nigeria, the dynamic has been over the past 10 years, mainly in the northeast and the conflict there, where we have a protracted situation where displaced are living under the fear of conflict, but at the same time, they're not accessing the level of services that we require. At the moment, also with COVID-19 coming, they are being affected many times. I hope all of us are socially displacing, moving away from each other where we can. For those in a camp, that's very, very difficult. A lot of the camps are very crowded, so trying to socially displace yourself, trying to move away from others is very, very difficult. In some of the tents, you've got 2 families, 3 families crowded in together. Can you imagine if one of them should get COVID-19, how that will impact on the others? The other issue is around washing the hands. This is one of the best ways of preventing the spread of COVID-19, trying to get sufficient water into these camps, not only to allow them to drink, to use in the toilets, but also to wash their hands on a regular basis so that children and others are able to access washing places. Is very, very difficult. But the UN, together with the governor, or the 3 governors in the 3 states in the northeast, are working hard, 1, to decongest the camps so people can have more space, 2, to ensure that primary health care is delivered and continues to be delivered as the situation evolves, and obviously protecting the health workers in the meantime. But 3, trying to ensure that children and adults have access to water, sufficient water, so that they can wash their hands on a regular basis.
I get a point, Mr. Hawkins. West Africa has reported some progress in its fight against insurgency. Do you think that is going to impact on the figures for 2019? Do you see this number coming down?
You always hope so. Conflict, though, usually means an increase in displaced. And the conflict is ongoing. Yes, there have been major steps forward, but there are many more inaccessible at the moment. As the conflict evolves and changes, we need to access that population, or those populations might come in and increase the number of displaced. Whichever way, it's critical at this stage, 1, that all children, whether displaced or not, in the northeast have access to services, that all children are protected against the pandemic of COVID-19 with their families, so that they have the space to be able to live healthily, but they also have access to services so they can wash their hands and use water effectively. But above all, as the Secretary General has called out, let's use this period to bring about peace so that children, wherever they are, can live a normal life.
Peter Hawkins is UNICEF representative in Nigeria. Thank you for talking to us.